Going to present an interview here from the founder of Green Certification for sustainable cannabis farming.
Welcome. Would you please introduce yourself?
Hello, Sunshine, and everybody listening. Thank you very much. And first, I'd like to thank KMUD for this opportunity to be on the radio. Our family's listened to KMUD probably now for over 20 years, so I'm proud to be a member of it and proud to be on tonight. My name is Chris Van Hook, and I am a medical cannabis compliance attorney. I also have a USDA accredited organic certification company, as well as the Clean Green Certification program, a cannabis third-party certification program.
You've been doing this since 2003. That is a long time. How many gardens do you think you've inspected in the Emerald Triangle?
Well, yeah, we did. We started in 2003. We got a telephone call from a lady asking if we could certify her cannabis as organic, and we had a phone call into the California Organic Program, and they said, yes, go ahead and start. Treat it like any other agricultural crop. And then the USDA issued a decree that no, medical cannabis was not eligible for organic certification because it was not an federally agricultural recognized crop. So therefore, we continued developing the Clean Green Certification program. It started 2003, but it didn't really get started until 2008 when the Jerry Brown, as the California Attorney General, came out with the 2008 guidelines for the production and distribution of medical cannabis in California. I guess since that time, I am probably working in about 200 gardens a year, cannabis gardens a year, and throughout the Emerald Triangle of Mendocino, Humboldt, and Trinity County, a couple of hundred probably over those years.
It can be a little frightening navigating some of these areas in the Emerald Triangle. Were you ever starting out especially just kind of scared, like, where am I going? Where are these farms at? Were you ever worried about your safety?
No, my family moved to Arcata in 1975. I moved in 1975. My older brothers had moved earlier than that. So we've knocked around since then all through southern Humboldt County and the Trinities, and have backpacked all over. That's not to say I haven't gotten lost a couple of times, but no, the area, I'm familiar with the area, yeah.
What are your qualifications to be an inspector?
California Medical Cannabis Compliance Attorney, number one. And number two, we have a USDA accredited certification company. There are only 84 entities globally that have made it through the process to become a USDA accredited organic certification company. So it's a global certification, and it's an extremely difficult process to get through. So that certainly is a globally recognized certification. And then we have run the Clean Green Certification program based on the National Organic Program since 2003. I have a bachelor's degree in environmental studies, minoring in both marine biology and agriculture. And I guess that has qualified me. I've got over 43 years now in agriculture, both conventional agriculture, organic agriculture, as well as cannabis farming.
How is it determined who passes?
That's a good point. It's important to know that under the USDA organic program, there needs to be they prefer 3, but there needs to be a minimum of 2 sets of eyes on each file. So a person sends in an application, it's reviewed not by the inspector, but by the reviewer. And if it's determined that that person has a good chance of passing, then the inspector goes out and does the inspection. The inspector does not make the determination if that person passes, although I often know if they will or won't. But we incur all the costs to send those files and reports back to the reviewer for the final determination. So there's a minimum of 2 sets of eyes and often 3. The important thing, though, is qualifications. I think it's easy to get confused in the unregulated world of cannabis. Almost anybody can say they're anything. And it's easy to say, well, we're going to be a certification company or we're going to be a certification company. But what's important for the consumer is to find out clearly what their qualifications are. And our qualifications, all of our inspectors have bachelor's degrees in agriculture or a related science and 5 years experience in the industry or 10 years experience in the industry with proven education and abilities. All of our reviewers have master's degrees in agriculture or related subjects, and that's the same as with our organic program or with the Clean Green program. The other thing that's of absolute critical importance, and it cannot be understated or overstated, is that because I'm a medical cannabis compliance attorney, our inspectors and our reviewers and myself are all able to extend attorney-client privilege to the farmer or the processor handler. And that simply cannot be overstated how important that is, much different than Colorado, Oregon, or Washington, where it's recreational. And in those states, we can operate as a service company. But in California, it's absolutely not a legal agricultural crop. There is a narrow defense called the medical cannabis defense. This multi-billion-dollar industry has gotten through that narrow defense, but people often misunderstand, thinking that cannabis is in fact legal in California, where it's not. So for a certification company to be able to provide attorney-client privilege is probably the reason why I'm allowed out to most farms, and it's of critical importance for a farmer to consider that when they have a certification company come out.
Right, and that goes to the fear for a farmer in terms of who's holding on to their records.
Absolutely. The difference is that if a client were to ask me, should I have this non-attorney come out to my farm, collect documents, review our procedures, and leave, I would say no. What is important is that the inspector that comes out is able to provide that attorney-client privilege, that the documents are transported and kept secure in a attorney law office format, and that if any files are maintained, that they're maintained in a law office where they're as protected as they can possibly be in an era where, the NSA can probably read anything, but at least that still is a very, very strong protection that's critical, I think, in this industry at this time.
How has the industry changed in the past since 2003?
The cannabis industry? I think quite a bit. I think when I started doing inspections, there was a real gap between the perceived quality of outdoor cannabis and indoor cannabis. There was indoor cannabis, had exceedingly high carbon footprint, and the outdoor cannabis was perceived as not of high quality. And over the past 13 years in the field, the carbon footprint of indoor cannabis has come down markedly, and the quality of outdoor cannabis has come up quite a bit. Both are trying to meet that new market. So, 13 years ago, it was common for ranch roads to be right up next to the cannabis field. You drive up to the truck, the dust would blow across. It was not uncommon to have farm animals running around the cannabis fields. For indoor, it was not uncommon to have the magnetic ballasts over lighting. And of course, the worst was the diesel dope, which I wasn't even aware of until I became an inspector. So, so I think as the price has come down, the indoor industry has been forced to start looking at more cost-effective, energy-efficient ways to operate, and the outdoor industry has been forced to bring their quality up. When I started, it was not uncommon to have indoor growers use their soil one time and take it to the landfill. And of course, that is ineligible, for certification. So I think both sides have improved greatly, and the marketplace has really benefited.
There are going to be some, as far as the compliance part, being compliant with water is coming up this summer. That's becoming a much bigger concern. There's regulations around water use. Do you have any advice for people about how to be compliant?
Yes, and one thing that I like about the Clean Green Certification Program over the USDA Organic Program is that it comprises much more than just the federal agricultural review. The Clean Green Certification Program has both a carbon footprint reduction portion, as well as a water use portion. And for 2000, and because it's a smaller company, we're able to adapt as environmental issues come up. And as I mentioned earlier, my bachelor's degree was in environmental studies, so that's sort of what gets me up in the morning. I think the water issue has been on the radar for a number of years. We started implementing mandatory water use procedures in the Clean Green program probably 3 years ago. Now, with the regulations, actually new regulations coming into law, for 2015, in order to be eligible for Clean Green certification, a grower is going to have to be either an exempt water supply, which I understand now would be wells or rainwater catchment, or they need to have applied into the program and start becoming a legal water source. We have never allowed pipes in the river, but we have seen farms that trap their springs that would otherwise go into creeks, and those are going to be regulated now. This is all even more important that we're in our fourth or fifth year of an extended drought. This is an issue that is common throughout the western United States, but for the North Coast, we are going to be requiring any Clean Green certified operation to be meeting the new standards as they are passed. Why we are doing that is we want to make sure that anyone that reaches for a Clean Green certified cannabis can rest assured that they're a legal water source, it's a legally compliant grow, and so that they can reach for that with greater confidence.
How can people reach you if they're interested?
Well, we're at our website. We've got a website at www.cleangreensert.com. That's cleangreensert, CERT.com. Or you can call us. We're based out of Crescent City, but we've got offices throughout California. We're based out of Crescent City. Our direct number there is 707-218-6979. Again, that's 707-218-6979.
All right, that there was Chris Van Hook from Green Clean Certification. Next up, we're going to be speaking with Jeremy Moberg. He's the owner of Canna Soul Farms.